Hello and welcome for this video on the VIjnana Bhairava Tantra. Today we will see one of those verses that is a little bit strange at first sight, for it is a verse that points to awakening through pain. So that is verse 93. Om kiṃcid aṅgaṃ vibhidyādau tīkṣṇasūcyādinā tataḥ tatraiva cetanāṃ yuktvā bhairave nirmalā gatiḥ. So, having first ādau, vibhidya, pierced through kiṃcid aṅgaṃ, any part of the body, with a sharp needle, for example, tīkṣṇasūcyādinā, then there itself, on that very spot, on that very sensation of pain, tataḥ, tatraiva, yuktvā, having fixed cetanāṃ, one's attention, nirmalā gatiḥ, there will be the pure understanding, the pure knowledge, the pure awareness, Bhairava, of the divine. There will be a pure awareness of the divine, a pure and immaculate insight into the divine. So first you pierce any place of your body with a needle, for example, and then you fix your awareness on that sensation of pain, and there the pure awareness of the divine, a pure awareness, will manifest. So the commentary, kiṃcid aṅgaṃ angushtādikam, the fingers, you can pierce the fingers, the thumb, for example. So you pierce your thumb with a needle, nishita kantakādinā pratamam chidva, with a sharp needle or a knife, taranam, and just after that, tatraiva cetanāṃ samvidam yuktvā, you put your awareness, sanyodhya, you unite your awareness to that sensation of pain on that very spot. Shuchyādi vyavasthanubhavitra cetana shakti samahitasya. So for the one who is well concentrated on the power of being the subject, the knowing subject, the awareness subject, concentrating on the place which has been pierced by that needle, for example, Bhairava vishayam nirmalā jnanam bhavati. There will definitely happen a pure knowledge of the absolute, a pure knowledge of the absolute. Sit down, Mama. Sit down. Sit. And the other commentator, Ananda, understands, it seems, slightly in another way. He says that experiment of pain, of piercing your thumb with a needle, is an experiment. Is an experiment in order to test somehow the sahana shakti, that is the enduring power, the power that cannot destroy the body. So it is the aim is to test that you are not the body, that you can endure the death and the destruction of the body, and he quotes the Bhagavad Gita, the famous line, "Achedyaha ayam adahyaha." This self is cannot be cut. It cannot be pierced. It cannot be burned. And therefore there is no reason to grieve upon its destiny, upon its doom. That's it. So the idea is that the sensation of pain, if you focus on it instead of trying to escape it, is pure awareness. Just that. But here it is not explained, it's just described. You take your thumb, put a needle, it's painful, and if you remain focused on that feeling of pain, then this is pure awareness. Why? There is a famous passage in a work by Somananda, the Vision of Shiva, quoted and explained by Abhinavagupta elsewhere, where he says that Shiva, the divine, which is bliss, pure bliss, is present everywhere. Consciousness and bliss are the same, even in pain. Because if you say all awareness is bliss, well, awareness of pain is no bliss. But he says, yes, who says that? Even in pain, bliss is present. And in fact, if you are able by your power of a concentration, of focus, of abstraction, to let go of the object, of the circumstances, of the implications of the past and the future of the pain, but just remain in the pure pain for self itself, then that pure pain is pure awareness, and therefore it is pure bliss. It is in relation to the object, to the content of awareness, of experience, that there is pain. But experience itself is always a kind of bliss, but not the bliss in the gross sense of the word. It's rather an aesthetic bliss and an ecstatic bliss. It's the bliss beyond pain, and it is also the bliss of feeling oneself to be beyond pain. And more deeply, the idea in that tantric philosophy of recognition, the idea is that pain is contraction. So usually contraction is bad. Contraction is pain, pain is contraction. And attention is painful awareness because it is contracted. And but contraction is also going away from the object. So it's also for awareness to go back to the point where it is pure and contracted by the object. So that contraction in pain may be in fact an expansion, because it is to get rid of the object. That is, it is to take the object back into oneself, because consciousness is like an ocean, and it's arising with the object, it's arising as the object, and it's falling back as infinite consciousness, taking back the object into herself, like waves. And so pain is stopping all mind, is stopping all, if it is strong enough, is cutting short all mind chatter. And just like a sudden sound, an explosion, or just the sound of Om, as we have seen so often in that teaching, is an occasion for awareness to free herself of her obsession with the object. There are pains that are so intense that you forget everything, that there are no more any vikalpa possible, no more choices, no more dilemmas. And so it may be that in the very heart of that pain, of that such a strong pain, awareness discovers herself as blissful and expansive and free of all choices. And that freedom from all choices is one way to describe bliss, the bliss that is awareness, the bliss that is our true nature and the true nature of everything. And in fact, if we have a look at human practices, we can see that pain uh, may be a door to bliss, to a feeling of freedom, to a feeling of transcendence, not only in the realm of sex, but even the practices, the dangerous practices like free gliding and jumping and all those things. There are examples more through fear than pain, but then fear is a form of pain when it is intense enough. And in that stress, there is a kind of freedom of awareness from her usual patterns, contents, obsessions. And somehow she comes back to herself. We have lots of testimonies about this from soldiers on the battlefield with the bullets around them. In those very, 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 very intense situations, um, consciousness somehow comes back to herself in her pristine state condition. That's why we find so many prescriptions of intensity in that Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Because pain is intense, and whatever is intense awareness, and intense awareness is full awareness, expanding awareness, the natural state of awareness, the original state of awareness that is there at the beginning of any movement, at the beginning of any emotion, for emotion is a movement, at the beginning of any, at the start of any desire, movement, emotion, sensation, feeling, and the more intense it is, the more powerful a mean it will be to come back to oneself. And this is an interesting alternative to Freud's interpretations of ascetic practices. Asceticism may be a kind of perversion of sexual desire, but, and that's not incompatible, but it can also be a way to transcend the mind, to transcend the mind chatters, the inner speech that is so exhausting, to go beyond those dilemmas of good and bad that sap our energy all the time. So pain can be a way paradoxically to get relieved from the pain of having to choose all the time by just dropping that away, letting come, letting go, and asceticism, just not listening to the natural urges, might be a way to go beyond the social habits, the social dilemmas that are so, yes, so exhausting. So all that might make sense. So here it's not so much the pain in itself as the intensity of the pain that is important. That is why they speak of the thumb and a needle. That's enough. You can even just pinch anywhere. And the heart of it is that in any sensation, you can feel that heart of bliss, of ecstasy, that yes, that unconditional yes, beyond all the yes and the no's, the no's that are apparent at the conventional level, at the outer level. I might say no, but if I turn back on myself, if I plunge in myself, I keenly look into myself, I will see and feel and be that one who is ever expanding, ever blissful, the Brahman. So, this is to explore, not to believe or just discuss like this abstractly, but this is really to explore for oneself. That's all for today. Thank you for listening and see you for another video.